Hi, I'm Cosmetic Chemist and trainer here at the Institute of Personal Care Science. And today I'm going to talk you through cosmetic emulsions, common stability problems and what their causes might be. And more importantly, some different ways on how you can troubleshoot and fix these issues. Now let's get started. Now, my emulsion stability problem number one would be colour and aroma changes. These are quite common problems when it comes to cosmetic emulsions. Now, when you have colour or aroma changes in your cosmetic emulsion, you will need to decide whether or not this is sufficient enough that's going to impact the overall formula or product for the consumer. You'll also need to determine whether or not the colour and aroma changes are actually going to affect the overall safety and also the efficacy of the product as well. A slight aromatic or colour change in a formula could be acceptable if it's quite minor, and this could be for many different reasons such as different batches or grades of raw materials. But if the pH and viscosity are quite affected, this is going to be an issue and something that needs to be investigated and also fixed. Now, to fix colour and aroma changes, there are a few things that you can investigate and try to fix and prevent this problem. Now, the first thing you could do is add some chelating agent. This is to see if it will restore the original colour. Now, if it does, you will need to add a chelating agent into your formula for the stability. Another thing you will need to check is your antioxidant activity. Now, it could be that you don't have enough antioxidant in your formula for the amount of oxidative materials you have in there, or you might need to try reducing the amount of oxidative materials that are in your formula. You will also need to conduct some microbial checks as well to see if your preservative is performing the way it should be, and also some PE testing as well. It would also be quite beneficial to also look into your packaging. Colour and aroma changes can also be caused from packaging allowing too much air into your product. Now, my emulsion stability problem 2 would be signs of separation. An oil and water emulsion will show partial separation or fully separated layers. Now, this can be from a few different reasons. It could be that there's too much oil for the amount of emulsifier or other stabilizing agents like polymers that you have in your formula, or it could have been quite a significant change in pH which has caused the emulsifiers or stabilizers to be less functional and ineffective. Now, to investigate this issue and potentially fix the problem and prevent it, you will need to test the pH of your emulsion. If it has changed drastically, then you will need to investigate why this has happened. Now, it can be caused from oxidation or any other type of incompatibilities like electrolytes, for example. But if the pH in the failed sample is still at the acceptable range, and there is still separation occurring in your emulsion, then you'll need to look at your oil to emulsifier ratio and see if any of those need adjusting. It may mean that you have too much oil for the amount of emulsifiers. You may need to increase your emulsifier or decrease your oil input. And you also need to look at your stabilizing agents such as your gums and polymer. Are you using enough? Are you using too much? Or are they affected by other things in your emulsion such as electrolytes? My third stability problem in emulsions that's quite common is grainy or waxy appearance. Now, this is what we like to call waxy water. This is when you haven't heated your water and oil phase hot enough before combining. So it may mean that your water phase was not quite to the same temperature as your oil phase. So when you've added it into your water, it means that your waxes in your oil phase have solidified. This is preventing it from then becoming homogeneous. So if this is the case, then it will mean that your emulsion will have a very small shelf life. So you will need to remake your sample and ensure that you're heating it correctly. And this could mean that you do need to use a thermometer to measure the temperature to ensure that it's getting heated hot enough. Now, another cause for grainy or waxy appearance in an emulsion can be caused by crystallization. Now, crystallization can be caused by an ionic emulsifier. So this could be cationic or anionic. And it generally crystallizes when you have used excess amount of these ionic emulsifiers in your emulsion to tolerate the low temperatures. Now, to fix this problem, try making another sample with more non-ionic emulsifier instead, and then test again using a freeze-thaw method. Now, my last common stability problem when it comes to emulsions is changes in viscosity within different climates. So this could mean that in colder weather, your emulsion is getting quite solid or it is increasing a lot in viscosity, whereas during hot climates, it's becoming quite runny or low in viscosity. Now, this can be caused from a couple of things, such as you've used too much of a high input of low melting point butters. We do generally recommend using no more than 10% low melting point butters to prevent this type of issue. And it can also be caused by using only non-ionic emulsifiers in your emulsion without other stabilizing agents such as gums or polymers. Now, there are a few other different types of causes of instability when it comes to emulsions. Now, these could be things such as high shear, mixing when it comes to sensitive materials. Most polymers are generally quite sensitive to high shear, so it could mean that you're using high shear when you should be using low shear. This will irreversibly cut the polymer and cause it to render itself as a stability aid in your emulsion. So always make sure that you're reading your brochures for supply recommendations when it comes to processing. Another common cause can be that you're introducing too much air into your formula when you're mixing. This can be because you've incorrectly placed your mixer when it comes to your emulsion, which can then cause viscosity changes and also oxidation. And the last one would be that you're not mixing your emulsion sufficiently, which is then leading to large droplet sizes in your emulsion. And the larger the droplet size means that the faster the oil droplets will coagulate and coalesce. Generally speaking, you should be using high shear when it comes to your emulsions to bring your water and oil phase together, but with the exception that you are not using any shear sensitive materials such as polymers, otherwise you will need to use low shear. Well, there you go. That's some of my common stability issues and how to fix them when it comes to cosmetic emulsions. Now, please do remember, if you are the company putting the product on the market, you are responsible for all stability and the shelf life of the product. Always ensure that you have evidence or data to support the shelf life and also the stability of your cosmetic emulsion. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, leave any questions in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to receive notification on the rest of our videos. Happy formulating!